Good morning, everyone. I hope that your Monday has been kind to you so far. Welcome to this Career-puccino, little boost on a Monday for postdoc kind. Hopefully you're armed with a cup of coffee. I certainly am. And we're going to go through a topic that I know is top of mind when people are looking at those next career steps. And we're going to be looking at lectureships, but teaching only lectureships. So I am going to be talking from a UK context. Everywhere, all university systems have their own nuances. So I would refer you back to resources in your own country or the country that you're looking to apply to. But I will lay it out straight, hopefully, what a teaching only lectureship is. From the point of view of the UK. And normally I have some funky slides to show you, but today I'm going to use some job sites, which seems to be probably the most sensible way to approach this. So let me just find my favourite academic job site and let me have a share. Okay. So for those of you who aren't familiar with jobs.ac.uk, this is pretty much where you will find academic jobs at UK universities advertised. It's the tried and tested job site that most universities use. You will also find on there academic related jobs and sometimes project work and various other things. So although we typically think that's where I'm going to find my postdoc or my lectureship, they've got other jobs there. And the other thing that they've got, just sharing up here, is a brilliant career advice section with some fantastic tools to help you navigate through that career change. So I find it a really helpful site. But we're going to get back to what we were supposed to be focusing on today, which is teaching only lectureships. And a very quick search, literally I put in lecturer teaching and a variety of universities came up. I've picked UCL, so University College London, for a lecturer teaching at their Cancer Research Institute. Why I'm starting with the advert is that quite often teaching only lectureships are very evident from the job description. So it should come as no surprise when you dig down into the job description and things from the title what you're looking at. So we've got lecturer teaching. There is no doubt that that will be your focus. Okay. So we've got a variety of things here to think about. All jobs.ac.uk have usually quite a brief description about things. You can sign up and email yourself this job or get onto email lists if this is something you're looking for. But what I did was hit on the apply button, which I'm going to do right now. And usually the apply button isn't a scary apply now. It usually takes you to the institution's page. Here you've got the same details, but importantly, right at the bottom, you've got the job description and person specification for the lecturer, brackets teaching, that we're looking for. So I'm going to stop sharing that and jump to where I've saved the job description for you all. Okay. So here's the job description. UCL always make their job descriptions look very beautiful. So they all look like this. So you've got the lecturer teaching again and various other things. When approaching a job description, usually for most British universities, you've got a lot about the context, which just tells you about the university and various other things. Yes, by all means, read this, familiarise yourself. But where I'm going to go today, because we're short on time, is to jump straight down into the job purpose. So we are looking at teaching only lectureships. So there will be, if they have put brackets teaching, there isn't necessarily a research component. There might be research into teaching and teaching good practice, and you might have to assimilate research practice into your teaching, so new research ideas and various other things, but it's not a research job. So a standard lecturer post in the UK will consist of teaching, research, and administration. Occasionally you do get research only, so you would get research and administration. And in a teaching position, you're going to get teaching and administration. Guess what? You never get rid of the administration part. It's always there. Paperwork, the bane of our lives, will always be there. But it's important to double check all the job descriptions and really think about what the purpose of the job is telling you. So here, the aim of the post is to initiate, develop, design, and be responsible for the delivery of a program or a range of modules of high quality in accordance with the agreed curriculum. Okay, there is no mention of research there. You will be delivering a program of teaching, and you will also have managerial responsibility. So to recruit lead demonstrators who work in the labs, presumably teaching staff and support staff. So they've already outlined what it is, the job is there. If you are sat there thinking, oh, well, I could perhaps apply for this job because it would be a way into UCL, it's a fantastic institute, it would be great to work there, and then I could pick up my research afterwards. This role is a great role if you love teaching and you want to go down that route. They are going to spot someone who wants a bridging post a mile away. Okay, so thinking about being very careful when you're reading duties and responsibilities. They do go on a bit. All job descriptions are very long. Making sure that it contains the elements that you want in a job, not that you hope would be in a job. Okay, having read through this earlier today, there is no mention of research. Perhaps the only thing that we come close to is responsible for continuing own professional development, keeping up to date in developments in subject area, teaching methods and techniques. This is very teaching focused. UCL are looking for someone who wants a career in university teaching. They are not looking for someone who is interested in a quick stopgap. Why would they? They want the best teacher, one of the best universities in the world. They want the best teachers. And so this is partly why I think universities are going down this teaching only track. It's relatively recent development, certainly for our big research intensive universities, but it is a distinct track. I was reading some good question and answer sites this morning, and one question was, could I take this job and then go back into research? Well, I'm never going to say never, because nothing is impossible. But if you took this job and you did it to the full breadth and length of the job description, there would be very little time for you to do anything else. So the thought that you might perhaps do research in your free time, that's not going to happen. Especially as a new teacher, we all know how long it takes to prepare, say, a presentation. And so if you're preparing new lecture courses or even trying to adapt someone else's lecture courses, then what you really need to focus on is that it's going to take a lot of time to get up to speed. So you're not going to have time to focus on any research, I would imagine. It's going to be a fantastic job if you're interested in teaching, but do not try and use one of these posts to try and get, kind of into the institution. You are embarking on a teaching track. If teaching isn't your bag, then don't go for these posts. Find something that is research and teaching, or even research only, depending on your particular desires. So always delve into the job description. There are lots of things that perhaps you think, oh, I'm not quite sure I've got that. So the job description can be used as a shopping list. So it might be that you're a postdoc at the minute, you're not quite ready to move on, but teaching is one of those things that you love. Use this duties and responsibilities list as a shopping list to try and get now whilst you're a postdoc so that you're in a fantastic position to apply a little bit later on. And what I do when faced with one of these job descriptions is literally get the highlighter out. So let's add that on. And just think, right, develop and design teaching materials, handouts, coursework, okay. Regular curriculum review. Have you been involved in revamping something? So I'm revamping a course at the minute for a university aimed at researchers, obviously, but I've undergone curriculum review. So these are very sort of teacher technical words, but you might well have done it in passing. So do you think quite laterally? If you haven't got any of these things, then it becomes a shopping list. And then you need to ask yourself, how can I get this experience either in the institution that I'm in or by looking slightly further to related institutions or institutions that will let you teach remotely so that you can build up that experience. What else have we got here? So to lead on designated courses, modules, plan, lecture, tutor, and assist students. So your application needs to mention some of these ingredients. Practical classes. And given that you are hiring up here lead demonstrators and various other things, I would imagine that if practical classes really aren't your bag, then this isn't the job for you. Okay, you're going to be involved in managing those at the very least, if not delivering them. Assessment methods. Now, this is one that quite often postdocs don't have experience in. We may well have demonstrated in a lab. We might have even given the occasional guest lecture, but getting involved in exams is something that it's quite a hard experience to get. But if you're on the lookout, or you could get involved in, volunteering to help with assessment, then you'll have that experience and you'll be able to talk about it at interview. So thinking about this very much as a shopping list, what else can we add? To design summer schools, continuing professional development. Now, some of these things you might have already done. So when I was a postdoc, I lectured on a course which was professional development for doctors. At the time, I really didn't think it was, kind of a particularly career savvy thing to do, but I did it. My boss suggested it. But as it turned out, it was one of the things that really helped me get my post when I moved into research development. So thinking very much about the different types of roles that you can get. Apologies for the phone going off. Thinking about other things that are on here, this is a very long list. Okay, there is no way that you're going to have everything on this job description. Job descriptions are written for angelic beings who do not exist. Okay, so you just need to make sure that you've got as much as as you can. I would say 60-70% of a job description, if you can tick those boxes, it's worth putting it in. Obviously the more the better, but if you're waiting to have 100% of a job description before you apply, you're never going to apply to anything, because they are written very much with sort of angelic beings in mind. The other bits here, we go on to duties and responsibilities. The other part of a job description is the person specification. Now, here is where you really see what they are looking for and how you can make yourself slightly better candidate with some preparation. So if you're thinking of this route in the future, is to think, right, okay, what can I do now? So PhD, I would imagine that if you're a postdoc listening to this, you already have that. So we've got that essential criteria. D is desirable. Here we've got, and this is again a UK focused qualifications, postgraduate certificate in teaching or other teaching qualification, fellowship of the Higher Education Academy. Now, most universities that I work with have schemes that will help postdocs work through some level of fellowship of the Higher Education Academy. The initial one is it's not very onerous at all. It's very easy, but it shows that you are interested in teaching and interested in developing yourself as a teacher. You can then take that further. You could do a full PG cert, but quite often universities will put their new lecturers through that as part of their probation. So you don't have to have that. It's desirable, but you could show willing and get some form of HEA membership. That would be a really good start and would show your commitment to teaching. We've got various other essential things which I think you would expect from a biological institute. Here we go. We've got D. So active involvement in student pastoral care relating to a specific program and or as department or program tutor. Universities are always looking for people who can help. So if you get in contact with a course convener in an area where you could teach, it might be that they're looking for new tutors to keep students on track. It might be that they're looking for lab demonstrators. It might be that they're looking for guest lecturers. Finding out who those people are and approaching them. Now we're in April, so the new academic year in the UK is September, October. So now is a good time to approach course conveners with a view for next year. So some of these things you're going to have to play the long game about trying to build things up. You can't build teaching experience up overnight. It's too difficult. But thinking, what can you do that adds to these desirable characteristics? So significant contribution to management and administration of a teaching program. Not all teaching only lectureships are asking for that level. Obviously, UCL is very prestigious, but again, because each university has a different take on it, and even different departments within different universities. So it's always worth drilling down into the job description. It doesn't take very long. It takes 5 minutes or so to get that far, a couple of clicks. But it's really going to tell you what type of person they're looking for and whether you fit the bill. So making sure that you've really sort of don't assume that all lectureships, brackets teaching, are going to look for this significant contribution. Some of them may well not do. And in fact, I've helped people get positions where that is not the case. So they've had a good deal of teaching experience, but they haven't necessarily been in charge of modules or courses or various other things. Other things that we've got, thinking about widening participation. This is one that we really need to, I've coloured it all in. Widening participation is one of these words that kind of trips people up. So it's thinking, how would you get students from underrepresented groups onto the degree course, or it might be a master's or whatever it might be? How are you going to encourage that diversity? How are you going to get people on there? As a lecturer who's focusing on teaching, you will also be involved in recruitment. So one of my big pieces of advice, if you're looking at this type of post, is to first and foremost go to the student-facing pages of the course that you're interested in being a lecturer for. Find out what they promise the students. And then the big question is to ask, am I bought into trying to deliver that? Again, if you look at those student-facing pages, they're going to give you a huge information about who they're trying to attract, what they're promising, and then also, conversely, what type of teacher you need to be. So those are some quick tips from me. If there are any questions, please do feel free to pop them either in the Q&A or the chat. So I've pulled those both up. Other ways that I can help you, if you're interested in this type of role, then I offer one-to-ones, working through your applications, really making your documents shine for that particular university. Or if you're thinking in general about career decisions, then we can have a coaching conversation around that. So you've got my email through the webinar registration. So just get in contact with me that way. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, then my details are just below this screen.